Have you ever felt conflicted about the phrase, follow your passion, or hesitated to try something new because you were already invested in another endeavor? This next title offers a fresh take on what success looks like. Welcome to Audiobook Reviews in 5. This is Yana, also known as Jana. And in today's episode, I'm reviewing Range, Why Generalists Triumph in a Specialized World by David Epstein and read by Will Damron. Today, specialized expertise is synonymous with professional and creative success. In Range, David Epstein argues that as a result, we're missing out on a polymath approach for learning that sticks, enhanced creativity, and solving the most challenging problems of our time. Range critiques our popular concepts of specialization about 10 years after they gained a foothold. Specifically, the 10,000-hour rule popularized by Malcolm Gladwell in Outliers and Amy Chua's parenting advice in her 2011 book, Battle Hymn of the Tiger Mother. It's fair to say we're ready for a fresh perspective, so it's no wonder that this title did so well, especially with praise from Gladwell himself and various other big names. We've all heard the phrase, do what you love, or follow your passion. But to make that happen, first you have to figure out what you love to do. Aside from the obvious problems that our passions change with age, there's a paradox that we tend to love doing things only after we've mastered them enough to experience benefits. Another problem lies in our habit of conflating our passion or our work with our identity. Instead of asking, what do I really want to become? Epstein encourages us to consider, quote, which among my various possible selves should I start to explore now? And how can I do that? Unquote. If you've read Grit by Angela Duckworth, you're familiar with the evidence that correlates stick-to-itness with success and peak performance. However, Epstein argues that it's in the exploration and sampling of activities where we learn the most. In other words, we learn who we are as we try new things, not merely reading about them and trying them on as mental concepts. And we have to know enough about ourselves to quit something instead of persevering for its own sake. As Epstein illustrates, this means that quitting and moving on to new endeavors, well, it's essential to maturing our perspective and ability to choose what's best for ourselves. It's also ideal for succeeding in a modern workplace which demands knowledge transfer. Increasingly, we value the ability to apply knowledge to new situations in different domains, often unrelated. This is especially important for creative problem solving, when we can take disparate insights and data from unrelated fields or activities and come up with innovative solutions, sometimes even using old technology in new ways, such as in Epstein's example of Nintendo and Game Boy. Of all the ideas he presents, I was most impressed by Epstein's discussion about learning. We're more likely to learn from our mistakes when we're allowed to make them versus being given hints or suggestions. And surprisingly, the teachers or professors who suffer low student ratings for being too tough are also the most likely to set their students up for success later on, proving that the experience of being wrong, well, it's never wasted, especially if you can learn and adjust your approach. The most common criticism about this book is that it's repetitive, but I appreciate all the concrete examples that Epstein uses to illustrate his idea. After all, you might relate more to a story about an athlete or a chemist than you might to that of an inventor or musician. My main critique is this. Epstein falls into the same trap of so many business and coaching writers. He focuses exclusively on professional success and peak performance while ignoring how his hypothesis might play out in our relationships and personal lives beyond careers and technical skills. Why doesn't Epstein explore the implications of hyper-specialization in Tiger Woods' tragic personal life? After all, he uses woods as a case study throughout the book. Is there a connection or not? And if our professional dedication comes at the cost of our health and relationships, is that success worth emulating? These questions remain unexamined, yet they strike me as worth exploring. Perhaps we'll hear more on this from the next writer or thinker who embraces the polymath trend. Ultimately, I'd recommend this title to parents, teachers, and anyone interested in learning and understanding what it means to be well-rounded and when to quit. Epstein presents plenty of compelling data and relatable stories that will serve nicely as conversation starters, so it's definitely worth a listen. That's all for this episode of Audiobook Reviews in 5. Thanks for listening. If you've not yet done so, please subscribe to Audiobook Reviews in 5 on Anchor, Apple, Spotify, and many others. By subscribing, you help increase the profile of this podcast and chances of other listeners finding it. I look forward to checking in with you all again soon. Please stay safe and be well.